What's up, guys? Justin here with our garage sale pickups from this last weekend, and it was definitely a weekend of ups and downs. There's one series of events in particular that really got under my skin, but I'll explain that when we get there. I'll start out with what we found on Friday morning. There's really nothing special. There was like 7 or 8 sales going on. The very first one we stopped at, they had a Wii lunchbox of all things, but it was just like a cheap tin lunchbox with some Nintendo characters on it. They were asking like $5 for it, so I passed on that. And then at one of the very last sales we stopped at, was the only place we even found anything, at the garage sales anyway. Got a few original Xbox games here. And they were $1 a piece, so I decided to go ahead and pick them up. They're all complete and in pretty nice shape. We got Fable, Kingdom Under Fire Heroes, and Beatdown Fist of Vengeance, which is a Capcom title, so this one could be pretty good, I don't know. But again, $1 a piece on those. Couldn't pass those up. But that is literally all we found at the garage sales on Friday morning. But when we finished up, we were kind of over by the St. Vincent de Paul, so we decided to stop in there and actually found some boxed Atari games. Now, I just recently got rid of all my Atari stuff, and actually Ryan was the one who ended up with most of it, actually. So these are for him. I mean, he was there with me, and we bought them and everything, but he just wanted to make sure they got shown in a video. So we got River Raid, Dodge 'em. Probably the coolest one was Donkey Kong. With it's actually got the picture of the arcade on the arcade cab on the front of it. And then finally, of course, you got to have combat, right? So those were $1.45 a piece. Ryan was more than happy to pay that to get those box games. And that was everything we found on Friday morning. But on the way back to my house from the Vinnie's, we drove by a sign for a sale that was going on Friday. It wasn't starting till like 11 o'clock though, and it was just like, at this point it was like a little after 9. So we knew they weren't going to be open. So I went home, I showered and changed and everything, and I was headed back over to Ryan's place. And while I was on that side of town, I was like, alright, well, I might as well check out that one sale that we didn't go to. It was like noon at this point, or even like 1 o'clock. So I figured even if they did have any video games, they'd probably gotten bought already. But I walked up there and was overly surprised to see a few Wii games sitting there. They were $4 a piece. One of them in particular I was very interested in, so I brought them up to the guy. I said if he would take 15, I'd get them all, and so I got all of them for 15. And show you guys what we picked up. Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. And all of these cases were really, really dirty, but I cleaned them up alright. And this one here actually had the disc for Star Wars Force Unleashed in it. And sitting on top of it in the case was a completely messed up copy of Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. Hopefully I'll be able to show this on the back. On the top of the disc there's just a huge, like almost like a chunk taken out of it. So that'll never play again, but I mean the actual disc that was supposed to be in the case was in good shape. Another one that I thought was pretty cool, I've never seen before, a Metal Slug Anthology. I'm pretty excited to give this one a try. We also got The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. It actually had, when I opened it up, it had a Mischief Maker's manual in it for the N64, along with the Twilight Princess manual. So I definitely asked if he had any more like older video games or any N64 games, and he said he didn't have it. He wasn't from around here. I guess he just moved up here for school or whatever and didn't have anything with him. But I got a manual for Mischief Makers that's pretty beat up, but not going to complain with the free manual. And then the one that I was very excited to get was The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. And this is actually came with the game disc in there, and then it has the 25th Anniversary Symphony. I'm assuming it's like a soundtrack CD or a special orchestra CD. So that was cool to see that both of those were in there, along with the manual. And actually there was Nintendo Power or Club Nintendo points in here that I got to use. I got like 50 points because they hadn't been used yet. And I don't have the the Wii Motion Plus controller to play this game. I haven't decided whether I want to pick up just like the black Wii Motion Plus, or if I want to like buy the bundle that came with the, I think it came with a gold Wii Motion Plus controller if I remember correctly, but I'm pretty sure that bundle's pretty expensive right now, so I'm not sure if I'm going to drop the cash on that, but I was still excited to get Skyward Sword. But moving on to Saturday. Now, Saturday looked a little bit more promising than Friday did. There was one sale in particular that advertised Wii stuff. We made sure to go to that one first, but when we drove by, they were barely even started setting up yet. So we decided we would just go to a different sale that was opening earlier and come back to that one in a few minutes. So we ended up at a different sale, and I asked the guy there if he had any video game stuff. He went into his house and he came out with a box. It was just a bunch of cheap Wii stuff, like the plastic accessories for Wii Sports, and he had like an Intech, like, charging stand dock thing. I don't even know what it was, but I asked him if he had any games, and he told me that his son had some games, but he was still inside sleeping, and that he didn't know which ones he wanted to sell or anything. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to wait around for this kid to wake up so I can look at his Wii games. So we just left. We went back to the sale that had actually advertised Wii stuff, and it ended up being a total bust. Literally, they had, I think, a Cabela's game for the Wii and that plastic like gun thing, and they had like 2 empty Game Boy Color carrying cases. So that was a complete bust. Didn't end up getting anything from there. But we drove across town to a different sale, and we didn't really find anything. We were on the way back to my Jeep, and at the end of the driveway, Ryan was like, "Hey, there's a Super Nintendo game in that box." So I was like, "Okay." I pulled it out. Ended up being Pilot Wings with a dust cover here, but it was sitting on top of this huge stack of manuals here. And I started flipping through these, and I could not believe what I was seeing. I took the manuals up to the lady that was having the sale, and I said, "Please, please, please tell me that you have the rest of these games somewhere and are willing to sell them." And she told me that, you know, they were her brother's friends or something, and he'd gotten rid of them a long time ago and just had the one game and the manuals left. And I was like, oh my god. I mean, if she had the games for these, we would have been swimming in a sea of gold. like, there is some very quality stuff in here, but to get the manuals was good too. I was very happy with this. I'll show you guys what we got. There was obviously some cheaper ones in here, but there is some pretty damn good manuals in here as well. We got Street Fighter 2 Turbo. We got the System Manual, Mortal Kombat 2, The Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse. We got both the manual and the poster for Super Battle Tank, which I actually think I needed both of these. I think I have just the cartridge and the box for this, so this will complete my copy. Waylay Country Club, Donkey Kong Country. Here's the manual to go with that Pilot Wings game. Super Mario World. This is one of the cooler ones in here. I actually don't even have this game yet, honestly. Battletoads Double Dragon. We also got Cliffhanger, Super Mario Kart, the first Mortal Kombat, Jurassic Park, Stanley Cup, Mario Paint, Clue. We got both the manual and the map for Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. We're starting to get in some of the better ones now. So I think I just need the box for this one now to complete my copy. Unless there was another, if anyone knows if there's anything else other than just the manual and the map that came with Mystic Quest, let me know. Super Metroid, Final Fantasy 3, Zelda: A Link to the Past. We got just the map for Secret of Mana. Like I said, I mean, if she would have had these games, oh my god. There it is right there. We got the manual and both maps / dungeon charts for the original Final Fantasy. Now I actually already have all of these. I'm just looking for the box for mine. If anyone has a good condition Final Fantasy box up for trade, definitely hit me up. We'll work something out. But I know Ryan will be very happy to get these. He mentioned that he used to have these maps in his manual and stuff when he was a kid, and unfortunately got lost over the years, and he's been looking for them for a long time now, so he's very happy to get these. And then there was this in there as well, this Game Genie set here. It came with this book here along with a bunch of these other black and white books as well. I'm thinking this is a complete set. Ryan looked through them and told me that this was like a complete Game Genie set. I'm not sure, but cool to get nonetheless. The manual for the SN program pad. And then she also just had some cheaper, like, generic posters. This one here, I believe, is Mortal Kombat, the first one, which is still a pretty cool poster to get. Ooh, gotta be careful. There's some tape on here. Gotta be careful. There we go. Mortal Kombat. And then she just had a couple of cheaper manual or these posters that came with a lot of the Super Nintendo games. But so I brought those all up to her. I asked her one more time if she had, if she had the games, if she could get them, anything. She told me now they were long gone. So I said, all right, well, what do you want for everything I have here? She said make an offer. I said $5, and she was more than happy to take that. So that was a pretty quality stack of manuals for $5. Plus we got the Pilot Wings game as well. So that find right there made the day definitely worth it. However, this is where things kind of started going downhill a little bit. We drove back across town to another sale, and it wasn't supposed to open until like 10 o'clock. It was just a little after 9 when we got there, so we were definitely early. We started walking up there, and the guy yells to me from his garage that they're not open yet. And so quickly I was like, just out of curiosity, do you have any video game stuff you're going to be selling? I'd be happy to come back. and his wife mumbled something from the back of their garage that I couldn't even make out, and the guy said something that sounded like a Game Boy, kind of looked like he was making the shape of a Game Boy with his hands. So I was like, alright, well, I guess we'll just come back, and we decided we'd go to the Goodwill first. I didn't really understand, though, like, if I was having a garage sale and someone came up to me, like, while we were setting up and asked me for something specific, like video games that I knew that I had, why wouldn't I take the 30 seconds to show them where it is and take a guaranteed sale? Like, it just didn't make any sense to me. But we were like, okay, well, whatever, we'll just go to the Goodwill and come back, in a little bit. So we stopped up at the Goodwill. Actually had a little bit of luck. Found a Super Nintendo system, just the console only. It was $9.99. But when I took this up to the cash register to pay for it, the guy that was working the cash register asked me if I had seen the other Super Nintendo that was over there with all the cords in a game. And I was like, oh, no, I didn't see that. And he's like, oh, there should be a GameCube over there as well. He's like, I just put it out like last night or whatever. And so Ryan ran back and checked real quick, but there was no other video game stuff to be found over there. So unfortunately, it sounded like someone had got to us either earlier that morning, which, I mean, we were there almost right after they opened, so it must have been the night before. Someone came and bought the complete Super Nintendo they had and the GameCube, apparently. But, I mean, I was still happy to get a console only for $10. It's just a shame that we missed out on the other ones. So after that, we went back to that sale that, could possibly have some kind of Game Boy system, and I mean, we were gone for all of 20 minutes, and we knew that people were going to start showing up to that sale early. So we got there, there's already a bunch of people there. We pulled up to the sale the same exact time as this reseller guy that I see out at the garage sales every weekend. I never really have too much of a problem with him because I don't think he buys like older games or anything, but he will buy, handhelds like Game Boys, DSs and stuff. Actually ended up at his garage sale earlier this year and bought that really, really crusty Game Boy Advance from him, the SP, for like $1. So I got out of my car and I hustled up to this sale to make sure that I beat this guy up there. And I'm looking around at all the tables, looking around. There's no sign of anything video game anywhere. So eventually I find the guy who's running the sale, and I said, hey, I was here just a little while ago. You mentioned you had some kind of Game Boy or something. And he was like, oh, no. He's like, I don't have a Game Boy. I got some other video game thing. He's like, if you want to look for it in that box, you can look for it. And I was like, okay, like, thanks, I guess. And there was a little old lady digging around in the box, so I was just going to let her, take her sweet time. That reseller steps in front of me, lifts up one DDR mat in this box, and pulls out a DS Lite. And I didn't see the price on it or the condition or anything. It was a pink DS Lite, though. And I think it was $5. I think he paid $5 for it. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Right now, like, as soon as he picked it up, the guy that told me where it was like, oh, there's that system I'm talking about. And I was like, okay, well, thanks. This guy's clearly going to buy it, but thanks. You know what I mean? Like, and I wasn't upset that I missed a pink DS Lite. I mean, I really don't need a pink DS Lite, obviously. I was just more upset at like the whole situation, how I had been there 20 minutes earlier. I asked for video games. He said he had one, wouldn't sell it to me then, came back, wouldn't even show me where it is, tells me where it is, watches some other guy take it right in front of me and buy it. And I don't know, I was upset. Like I said, I was upset at the situation, not necessarily that I missed a pink DS Lite, but whatever. I'm obviously over it at this point. It was just kind of disappointing that there's these people out here who just honestly don't care. But anyway, on that rather sour note, I will conclude this pickup video. Overall, it was a decent weekend, though. I mean, this stack of manuals really made the weekend worth it. Plus, I got the Zelda games, and the Metal Slug. I'm excited about that one too. Just got to find myself a Wii Motion Plus controller for this now. So anyway, thanks for sticking around, checking out the video, guys, and until next time, take care.